Hi, guys. So it is almost midnight here on the East Coast. Today is July 1st, and I'm coming to you guys with some news. I'm super excited, which is why I'm up so late recording this video. Didn't even set up the camera, just recording from my laptop. The planDisney Panelist search for 2025 officially starts next week. Earlier today, planDisney on Instagram, they announced that the applications would be opening on Monday, July 8th at noon Eastern Time. And your girl is throwing a hat back into the ring for 2025. I actually applied last year and I made it to round two, and that's pretty much it. It didn't go any further than that. I have a whole video about that that I'll link somewhere. But yeah, I'm excited to throw my hat back in the ring for this year because the whole process of applying last year was fun. It was my first year applying after not doing it for so many years, with the pandemic happening and Disney just not being a priority. Like it went on the back burner for me, Disney as a whole, so let alone planDisney. And then I was going through a whole bunch of life changes, and I didn't think that it would be fair to apply and sign up to do something that I knew I did not have the bandwidth to do. planDisney requires you to submit about 15 to 20 answers per week, and I just didn't have it in me, during those pandemic years, not at all. But yeah, I feel like I'm in a good place to where I can actually serve on the planDisney panel, have fun with it. And like I said, the process itself was super fun. I actually got involved in the planDisney hopeful communities. There are quite a few online, and then in some of the other general Disney groups that I'm in, or the Black Disney groups that I'm in, it's just a good community surrounding planDisney hopefuls. So last year was really the first year that I tapped into that. And I made some really good Disney friends, one of whom actually made the panel, and another one is serving in her second year on the panel. But more about all of that later on in this video. If you don't know what the planDisney panel is, I'll just give you a quick summary in my own words, uncomplicated. So many of us, when we're thinking about going on a Walt Disney World, Disneyland, etc., Disney vacation, most of us have that one Disney person in our family or in our friend circle who is the Disney person. So the planDisney panel is a panel of people who are essentially the Disney people and their families and friend groups. The only difference is they're giving you information and their tips for the park based on factual information, right? Because one of the things, unfortunately, when we go and we ask our friends and our coworkers, family members, whomever about Disney, sometimes their information is either not accurate or it's outdated. And sometimes they're telling you about an attraction that does not exist anymore, or it's been rethemed, or they're telling you that something is free and now there is a fee attached to it. And you just don't want to make those types of costly mistakes and realize it when you get to the park. So I like planDisney because it is more personal than, searching through the Walt Disney World or Disneyland website for information. You can actually find out tried and true tips from people who love Disney, who know Disney. And because there's a qualification for you to have taken a trip in the past year, you know that their information for the most part is going to be up to date, right? So that is planDisney, like what they do. They do write these responses to future guests, like people who are planning their vacations and everything. And in exchange, at the end of the year, they get to take a trip according to their specialty. So you can specialize in Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Vacation Club, or Disney Cruise Line. And it is just such an amazing platform to get your questions answered. I've used it on trips of my own because there's certain things that I still don't know, even though I know so much about Disney. There are things that I still don't know about Disney because that's just not the way that I always do Disney. And, sometimes when you're trying to figure out new things, You want your tried and true tips from people who do know. So that is planDisney Panel. Each year they have a search for new panelists, and the search, I don't even know if Disney has ever released how many people actually apply, but I know that it is at least in the tens of thousands. If I'm not mistaken, I think there was like a Time article or somebody else's article that gave that number a few years back. I don't know if that number is increased or decreased, but it's a lot of people in that first application batch. And speaking of which, the application process is in 3 rounds. So the first round, you're answering some questions. And they're questions about you, how you do Disney, the last time you've been there, where'd you stay, that type of stuff. If you make it to round two is where you do more of those questions, but you also do a 60-second video. And like I said, I made it to that round last year. I submitted a video. That video was not a great representation of myself, but but I know that. And you can't do everything perfectly all the time. Um, and I just also feel like what is for you is for you. But yeah, I think that if you've never heard of the planDisney panel before and you're thinking about applying after what I've said, I think there are two tips that I think are really, really important to understand. And the first one is that the planDisney panelist role is like a writing job. So, yes, you get all the perks of being a panelist. You get to go to Disney World for the training trip, and you get to you get to go on the Disney Cruise Line for the training trip. You get little pluses or extras, I forgot what they call them, throughout the year where you may be invited to Disney parks or on another Disney cruise, or you may be invited to speak on the podcast, things like that throughout the year. All of that is good and fun, but essentially this is a writing role. And in some of the videos that I've watched over the past 2 years, I've realized that the people who do make it onto the panel, they emphasize this because writing is going to be it's going to be the biggest part, or it's the main part of what you're doing as a panelist. So you have to like writing. You have to be able to write well. You need to understand how the Disney brand talks about all of their entities and all of the components of Disney experiences. Um, that'll that'll go a long way. The other piece of advice that I've seen in many of the videos is to be yourself. There is no secret formula that is released to the public about what the search team is actually looking for from year to year. And there are lots of variables that are going to factor into it. But again, we don't know. So the best thing you can do is be yourself because you might have the special spice, as Princess Tiana would say, for 2025. So my bonus tip is that you have fun and you just embrace that whatever is for you is for you. And I mean it. Even if you don't make it onto the panel this year, even if you don't make it past round one, like just trust that whatever is for you is for you. Last year, I made it to round two and I was super excited. I'm like, this is going to be my year. I'm going to be on the panel. I'm going to do this, this, and that. And I knew that it was also going to be a very big year for all of the like Disney experiences umbrella. We had Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which just opened up in Walt Disney World, and it's also opening up in Disneyland. We had the transformation for Epcot and all of the little shows that have opened up. And you have Country Bears Jamboree, which is opening later this month. And it's just like all the things that I knew were coming and the fear of missing out on all of those things. Plus, the cruise and the training trip and making new Disney friends and everything. And I'm sitting there. I gave myself the one day to be super sad about it and just feel my feelings. And I'm just going off to absolutely nobody, but going off like, oh, I don't get to meet this person. I don't get to meet that person. I don't get to do this. I don't get to do that. And looking at it now, I'm just like, everything happened the way that it was supposed to happen. I don't know if this year is my year. I'm hoping it is, but I don't know that this year is my year. But I do know that for last year, I wasn't supposed to be on the panel. And when I think about who I am and who I know I am, had I made it onto the panel, I would not have gone as hard at some opportunities I had in my actual career, because I would have been like, I'm on the Disney panel already. If I need information about Disney, I can just go to so and so and get the information I need. And who knows, if I would have made the connections that I made this year. So through my job, I actually started a relationship between the publication where I was and Disney experiences. And it turned out to be so amazing because I got invited to a FAM, and that is pretty much a familiarization trip. And I got to meet some other journalists there, um, many of whom were also Disney fans. And then my team was invited to Disney Dreamers Academy. I did not go with them for that because it was literally the week before the fam trip. Too much, too much. But as soon as everybody on our team got back from our respective Disney trips, we were invited to the Tiana's Bayou Adventure preview. Now, for 2024, I had a few things on my list for my career. Okay. And one of the biggest things at the top was to meet PJ Morton and to interview PJ Morton. So before I even got the invitation to the Tiana's Bayou Adventure preview, I pitched to PJ Morton for an interview. And it was like pretty much a pipe dream because I did not think I would get a response at all. And probably the following week, his manager reaches out like, can you interview him tomorrow? So, of course, I said yes. And I cleared my schedule so I could do that. Um, and I also emailed my contact at Disney Experiences. And I'm like, hey, girl, hey, I landed an interview with PJ Morton, just letting you know because we are going to be discussing Disney. And she kind of spilled the beans in a little whisper to me. So that was super exciting. And I still didn't know that I was actually going to meet him. It was just kind of like, yeah, well, he's going to be there. Um, but yeah, that happened. And then, of course, when I got to the press event, I did get a chance to meet him, and I got a chance to meet Terrence Blanchard and Jennifer Lewis and Keith David and a whole list of other people. One of the things I was really upset about when I did not make the panel last year was the fact that I was not going to be able to meet some of the planDisney panelists like Leandra, and I was not going to be able to meet Amira. And at the media event, I met both of, well, I met Leandra actually at the FAM. I saw her again at the media event, met Amira for the first time. And then also sort of kind of met Kay, who's a panelist this year as well. I didn't realize it was Kay until after the fact. But yeah, like literally everything that I was upset about, everything that I had FOMO about last year, I did it anyway. Literally, like there's nothing that I missed out on. So whatever is for you is for you. And like if you think that um this is supposed to be your year, just trust the process, go with the flow. When you join conversations and communities about planDisney panel search, even when you don't make it beyond round one, you have a whole bunch of new Disney friends and new people cheering you on, um, and comforting you through that process. It doesn't feel so lonely. You don't feel like rejected because you didn't make it. And you have to keep in mind too, there are so many people vying for a number of spots that we don't even know. The same way we don't know the formula that they're looking for from year to year, we don't know how many spots are available, right? Because I want to say last year it was a total of 16 maybe new panelists. Previous years there were more. So it depends on, their need, what they're looking for, and they're also they also want people to like get along with each other. So your class, you know, comes together. So, yeah, I am super excited to try again. Like I said, the whole process is just fun, whether you make it onto the panel or not. It's a great opportunity to meet other Disney people who know their Disney, very friendly people. And I know even sometimes as Black people, we're a little bit nervous about being in some of the mainstream groups because for us, it's not always pleasant. But I can tell you the groups that I'm in for planDisney Panel Search, the vibes are doing what they're supposed to do. And, it's none of that foolishness in any of those groups. I do have some communities listed. I also have some videos that I think would be beneficial to you from a current panelist, a past panelist, and also I think the planDisney video that I probably watched a million times last year. But it has some very great information in it from panelists who made it on. Some made it on in the first try. Some tried for many years before getting onto the panel. I think it's great to hear all those different perspectives and just know that, like I said, at the end of the day, have fun, bring yourself to the table. You never know what they're looking for. Your special spice will make life complete. So next week, I'll be back to discuss my application and the questions and how I responded. Good luck to everybody who's applying this year. Talk to you later.